Welcome back to the 10-minute round. What can I say? It's the return of the king. UFC 314 out of Miami was pretty much like a showcase for the featherweight division. We had a ton of great fights. So much happened. Let's break it down. Alexander Volkanovski accomplished something pretty incredible this weekend. He is the first fighter over the age of 35 to recapture his belt. Not only that, but from 155 and below, he is the first fighter over the age of 35 to win a belt in the lighter weight divisions. That is incredibly impressive. Featherweight, like look at these fights that we had on this card. Featherweight is absolutely stacked. And to be the champion of that division, not only to be the champion, but to return, when people are saying that you're washed, you're coming off of 2 knockout losses, and to get your belt back, that is incredibly impressive. So how was he able to do it? Diego Lopes' best chance at winning this fight is just to kind of make things a little bit chaotic. Essentially, every time that Volk threw, Diego wanted to create this like car crash between them where he would throw at the same time and kind of count on his chin holding up, on his power getting the better of Volkanovski's power. And he did that a few times, but to Volk's credit, especially right at the beginning of the fight, he did not shy away from those car crashes. In fact, he was able to land first in a few of them. I think he kind of surprised Diego a little bit. He kind of set the tone for like, hey man, if you do this, there's a chance that I can catch you too. Like, I'm pretty quick. You can't just be coming at me recklessly because I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna catch you. And to his credit, man, Volk landed some pretty hard shots that I think let Diego know that he has to be careful, that he's not just gonna bully Alexander Volkanovski. You can't get into too many of those situations with Diego Lopes. Obviously, we saw Diego Lopes hurt Volk in like the second round. He hurt him in the fourth round. You're still playing with fire here. But for the most part, Volk was able to use his movement. I mean, the guy just never stops moving. He never stops like striking from the outside. He did a great job. I said that if this one went to decision, it was going to be Volk all day, and he proved it, man. This is what he does. He's good at fighting this kind of fight. He's a very, very intelligent fighter. So congrats to him. The next fight for Alexander Volkanovski should be Movsar Evloev. He has the best resume at featherweight. He has not fought for the title. He is undefeated. He has a lot of big wins under his name. Diego Lopes coming off this loss. We got a little storyline in place here. We got a little bit of bad blood. We saw the press conference. It sounded like my parents arguing in the kitchen. Those two guys were going back and forth. I think that is the fight to make, maybe as a co-main event, maybe a 5-round co-main event for the September card, the Mexico card. Yair Rodriguez versus Diego Lopes. That's what should be next for those guys. Let's talk about Yair facing Volk. I don't think so, man. You got to put together a better resume before you get another chance at the title shot, another chance at the guy who finished you less than 2 years ago. On the other hand, we got old Paddy the Baddie just absolutely dominating Michael Chandler. I felt like all week I was having this conversation with people of like people saying, I think Paddy's going to get in there and he's going to get destroyed by Michael Chandler. He's going to get knocked out by Michael Chandler. And I just kept reiterating, like, I've said it on this show, I don't think that Michael Chandler is a top 10 lightweight. We will not be seeing you at the top, Michael Chandler. And it's no fault of his own, man. Dude's getting a little older. He's got a ton of mileage on him, man. He's notoriously taken so much damage in his career. I think that if his goal was to one day become the UFC champion, he couldn't be further away from that goal right now. I honestly think that Michael Chandler should hang him up. If you're going to stick around for paydays, like all the big names, you've already fought all the big names. You might waste your life waiting on the Conor McGregor fight if he were to ever come back. But besides that, you're kind of falling back into the middle of the pack now. Yes, your fights are exciting. Yes, like you're always entertaining, but you still got to win. You can't be 2-5 in the UFC. You got a lot of work to do to get to the title shot. I don't think it's worth it for him to continue to take damage, especially the kind of damage that he's taken in fights over the years. This is it, man. Just you got to hang him up. I hate to be the dude that's like, a fighter should retire because, it's up to them. This is how they make a living. This is how they feed their families. But what else do you have to gain here? And what is the risk of taking more damage? More damage than you've already taken. Look at all of his UFC fights. They're all incredibly violent. For Paddy Pimblett, maybe it's a personality thing. Maybe it's the Jared Gordon fight. I don't know. There's a lot of people that just don't like Paddy Pimblett. And I think it kind of clouds their judgment on his fights. Like, I really feel like people don't really see what the guy's been doing. The guy and his team are very, very smart. They game plan extremely well. They definitely know how to play to Paddy's strengths. He's huge for the division. He's an absolute giant. He's good at fighting from range. Like, he keeps people at range. Those calf kicks of his are deadly. He used them in the fight against Michael Chandler, kind of like I thought he would, but, so did Michael Chandler's team. He was actually doing a pretty good job of defending against the calf kicks a little bit. A few landed, but he was kicking that leg back to get away from them. Another tactic that Paddy and his team put forth is that they know that Michael Chandler likes to dip his head. Paddy's like picking him apart from range. And they know that Michael Chandler is going to get reckless. He's going to dip his head to try to get in and land some shots. So Paddy was throwing a ton of uppercuts. It eventually set him up for that counter flying knee that just did so much damage. It opened up that nasty cut. I told you in the grappling exchanges, like, he was going to dominate. If Charles Oliveira could do what he did to Michael Chandler, I felt that Paddy Pimblett could do the same. He even used the same body lock takedown that Charles Oliveira was using. I mean, come on. When is the kid going to start getting credit? As far as what's next for him, any of those big names, I think Dustin Poirier has something in the works, so it's probably not going to be him. But Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, I do think that those are winnable fights for Paddy Pimblett at this point in their respective careers. I think he can win against either one of those guys. It's not going to be easy, but mind you, I think a fight against Arman Tsarukyan, I think a fight against Ilia Topuria would actually be much more difficult than, the previous two guys I mentioned. Or, if he's not quite, I think his star power is at the point where he could fight any of those names. And I think they would be competitive fights. If you take a step back and you fight somebody like a Mateus Gamrot, if you fight somebody like a Dan Hooker, I don't think there's as much to gain. I don't think you get an immediate title shot after beating either of those guys. And there's a lot of risk in those fights as well. So, I mean, for me, I think he should take on Charles Oliveira. Even if Justin Gaethje doesn't get a title shot, maybe the fight is against Justin Gaethje. I think if he can beat either one of those guys, then I think we're talking a title shot for old Paddy the Baddy. I already mentioned Yair Rodriguez a little bit, kind of what I expected. A lot of kicking at range, keeping Patricio Pitbull back. It wasn't a good performance from Patricio. I think he's past his prime. It's unfortunate that he couldn't come to the UFC sooner. He's got a lot of mileage on him. He's coming off a neck surgery. Like, I don't think we'll ever see the best Patricio Pitbull in the UFC. And putting him up against a guy like Yair and it being very one-sided, it kind of shows that maybe he's not at that level anymore. So it's unfortunate. I don't know what's next for him. I'm sure we can get some exciting featherweight matchups for him. I kind of feel for the guy coming into this organization just late after most of his prime has been, used up. And like I said, Yair, Diego Lopes, September, Mexico card. It's the one to make. It's time to talk about the Fighting Nerds. I always harp on the Fighting Nerds. I always tell you how much they impress me. This fight was no exception. Jean Silva absolutely dominated Bryce Mitchell. It was not even a contest, whatsoever. And this is a good, litmus test for Jean Silva. You have to be able to go out there and beat a guy like Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell doesn't suck. He's very good at what he does. And for Jean Silva to go out there and neutralize somebody who's kind of can be a stylistic nightmare for people. And Jean Silva just beat the fucking shit out of him. My God, where is the ceiling for this guy? He was kind of saying I'd make a good matchup for Volk. Let's get a few more wins. Obviously, that was incredibly impressive. It was one of the most impressive wins on the entire card. But, we got some top 10 guys we can face. If we really want to make a big jump for Jean Silva, Aljamain Sterling's out there. I don't know if Aljamain would be down to take that fight. But if you want to take on another surging contender, a guy who's also put some good wins together, we got Yusuf Zalal. Be a good fight, be entertaining. But, man, Jean Silva I'm so impressed. I am so impressed that he did Bryce Mitchell that way in front of Bryce Mitchell's own president. Come on, man. Come on. That was dirty. Overall, I found pretty much the whole fight card to be pretty entertaining. Dominic Reyes with a brutal KO over Nikita Krylov. That division is so shallow. I always talk about how shallow it is. You're one more win away. Another dominant win like that against a top 5 guy in the division, and you're at the title shot. I'm glad he was able to get back on track after his little losing streak that he put together. He really seems to have figured something out. We also had some weird stoppages on the prelims, either too late, too soon. We had Chase Hooper gooning. I mean, it was a fun one, you know. It was a good card. I was really excited for this one, and I feel like it kind of lived up to the hype a little bit. So that's pretty much all I got to say about this one. And next week, we're gonna talk Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Prates, another Fighting Nerd guy. That fight is absolute dynamite. I can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait to break it down. I will see you next week. Peace.